Hello and welcome to the question annotation section for the Crime and Punishment Explain questions, the question 3s. Just like with the summary video, what I would like you to do, please, is highlight the key parts of the question and annotate it. You could even come up with some of the points that you might use, and then make sure you press pause for the video so you can do that, and when you've done, come back and check your answers. Okay, so like with the previous questions, what we need to do is pick out the time period. So it says period 1250 to 1500. Now again, reminder, at the top of your exam paper, as soon as you get in there, write in the time periods. Medieval 1250 to 1500, EMP 1500 to 1750, industrial 1750 to 1900, and then 20th century 1900 plus. So nice and easy for that. You can see that this is the medieval time period. And you are also looking for what section is it. So is it crime? Is it law enforcement? Is it punishment? Now it says here law and order was enforced. So that is law enforcement. Now, slightly different to the summary question, you need to actually work out what does this question want you to do. So it says, how much did the way law and order was enforced changed in the period 1250 to 1500? So how did law enforcement change in the medieval period? Now, this bit here is also key. How much? That means that you can talk about things that changed and things that stayed the same. Now let's have a think. If you're thinking about like law enforcer roles, you've got JPs who increase, sheriffs who decrease, you've also got increase in watchmen, you've got the continuation of the hue and cry. And then if we think about courts, for example, you've got the royal courts that become the county assizes. Apologies, I've just got myself mixed up here with the medieval period and the early modern period. The JPs, it's not that the sheriffs decrease, the JPs are introduced to take over the sheriff's court roles. So now what I would like you to do, we're going to turn over, we're going to have a go at planning the answer to this question on this page. Pause, come up with your point, your development, your link, and then come back and check your answers. So, how much did the way law and order was enforced change in the period? So my point, we're going to say change, intro, so introduction of county assizes. In your detail, you're going to put that the county assizes took over from the royal courts they judged serious crimes. Apologies again, it's messy, but if you do need to pause and listen, that's absolutely fine. So we've said that it's a change. Our change is the introduction of the county assizes. We've included some development here. Now, I just want you to make sure that you include some explanation. So we want to have why does this change? It's because the royal courts are unable to keep up with the amount of crime. The second one that I would include, I think, is change and watchmen. So watchmen are introduced to patrol the streets of towns at night. Again, why are they introduced? It's the increase in the size of towns. Finally, let's mix it up a little bit. Let's have not as much change. There is some continuity with the hue and cry. It's where victim shouts for help. People chase the criminal. Why do they continue to use this? It's because many people continue to live in small rural communities. There is also no official police force. Okay, so same again, but for this question, highlight the key parts. So the date, the question kind of focus, the topic, is it crime and punishment, is it crime, law enforcement, punishment, and then the question. Pause and play when you are ready. Okay, so again, let's pick out the time period. Now this one, they actually give you the time period. Can you notice how they have the same question pretty much, but it's again law enforcement, but here they've called it enforcement of law and order. So if you see enforcement of law and order, or law and order was enforced, it's talking about law enforcement. And once again, it's about how law enforcement changed in the early modern period. And again, it says to what extent. This one says how much. This is to what extent. So again, you can have things that change and things that stay the same. So again, it's an increase in the number of watchmen. Well, something to do with watchmen. In the medieval period, they're actually introduced. We've got a decline of the church courts, decline of sheriff, increase of JP. We've got the continuation of the hue and cry. Decline in manor courts. Lots of different things you can write about in this time period. So again, flip over to the question. Pause and plan your answer. Press play when you are ready. Sorry, I'm going to sneeze. Okay, so let's start with change. Increase in watchmen. You can use the exact same bit of knowledge from before as to what they are. They patrol towns at night. And again, you want that why. Why do they increase? Because again, the population of towns has increased. There's also a change with the church courts. Now, the church courts actually increase in this period. So the use of them increase in this period, but decline towards the end. Why do they increase? It's due to Puritan rule. So more moral crimes are being committed. Why do they decline? It's due to the rise of the Enlightenment. So people are becoming less religious. Final point, let's keep it simple. Let's use the continuity of the hue and cry. So you know, if you get either of those two questions about law enforcement in either of these two periods, you can use the hue and cry. What is it? I'm not going to write it again. Victim shouts for help. People have to chase the criminal. Why do they continue to use it? Exactly the same as before. Small, local communities, no official police force. Okay, so let's turn back to the third and final question. Just a reminder, these have all been on the last few exam papers. I actually changed the second number 3 because it was medieval period twice. So I made it the early modern period. So we had something a little bit different to look at. But this one is the most recent one. So again, annotate, pause, and press play when you're ready. Okay, so time period since 1955. So we know that's 20th century. Topic, crime. And the key part of the question, why have there been changes in types of crimes? So essentially, why has there been new crimes since 1955? Now, it's only the second half of the 20th century, but you actually only learn about the new crimes that happen in the second half of the 20th century. So don't panic if you see that. That's what we've learned the new crimes about. Now, this one takes a little bit of thinking through, because what you're looking for is reasons for change. Not what new crimes are introduced, the reasons why these crimes are introduced. So the easiest way to do that is basically list the crimes. So for example, we've got car crime, we've got drug crime, we've got cyber crime, we've got race crime, and we've got football hooliganism. Can't spell today. Football hooliganism. I did spell it right in the first place. Oh my goodness, right. Hooliganism. There we go. So now you need to think, okay, right, why are these new types of crimes emerging? Okay, well, car crime, due to the invention of cars, which is, new technology, as is cybercrime. So we know we've got new technology. So that could be one of our points. Drug crime, linked very much to youth culture movements. Race crime, due to immigration. And again, football hooliganism is really to do with the rise of the television, making football more popular. So again, we've got new technology. So what we've found there is our 3 points that we would use in our answer. So turn over, plan your answer, and come back and check. So I'm going to start with, why have there been changes in types of crime? Point number 1, new technology. Your development here describes cybercrime. What is it? If you can't remember what it is now, you need to go back and watch that 20th century content video, please. What you need to explain is why new technology leads to cybercrimes. So, for example, creates new methods and machines to commit crime. Cybercrime emerges because this new technology that allows people to commit crime. Second of all, another reason, we've got migration. People moving to Britain. What does it create? Race crime. Again, you need to describe in the development what race crime is. If you don't remember it off the top of your head, get back and watch that 20th century crime content video, please. So why is this creating new crime? Well, migration to Britain after World War II leads to rising tension between Brits and migrants. Final point, youth culture. The development of youth culture, particularly in the 60s, leads to rising drug crime. So the increase in a music scene which young people attend becomes linked with illegal drugs. This becomes a noticeable problem, so the government brings in drug classification and just makes all the drugs illegal. It becomes a widespread problem. Government reacts and bans drugs. Move down a little bit so you can see. So that is our explain questions planned, annotated. Now let's move on to the how far do you agree questions, the question 4s. Make sure you go and find the video in the playlist.